One. Welcome to Stone Soup Poetry. Happy October, happy autumn, happy humid autumn. What the hell's going on here? Climate change, horror. I was early, before I even pressed record, I was mentioning submit to Oddball Magazine's Horror-thon. You know what's horrible to me? The sweaty back I have from walking home in my overcoat that I put on when it was cold this morning, and now it's humid at night. This is not how things work. But in all seriousness, I'm looking forward to tonight's open mic participants, and I'm looking forward to our feature tonight. Put your hands together virtually for Navah the Buddaphliii. She'll be going on after the open mic. Navah has a book collection out that I think has been available since last year. She has worn many hats in not just as a solo performer and organizer, but also as part of the Stone Soup clan, being one of the people behind the one of the brain trusts behind the Souped Up Poetry Slam back during the pre-pandemic days, almost the pre-Trump days, I think. Yes, and her poetry collection, in case you can't read reverse mirror image, is Black Cocaine and Colorless Butterflies, which I have to finally sit down and read and count the references to Prince. So by the way, any Prince poems will be I'll consider, if I can put in a request for that would be great, but at least one. And yeah, so we're going to get to the open mic, and thanks to everyone who has come on tonight. Spread the word. If you're on Facebook right now, share the open mic, and hopefully we'll get some more people on. Let's go now to the Ramdonator 5000 open mic sheet to guarantee that there's always a number one poet. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 3, 5, 8, 17, 22, as it does when you enter it on paper in live shows. Let's all welcome first Miss Jackie Chow.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna read two poems. I keep forgetting if we're allowed one or two.
Two's fine. Two's fine for an open mic like this.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I thought I unmuted you. I muted you by accident, so you'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, no worries. Okay, the first poem is called The Uncaring. Today I will eat spare ribs, while the one who pays for my meal gobbles down a hamburger, a garden salad with ranch dressing and cheap croutons, or chowder with saltine crackers crushed into bits. Today I bump into everyone, trip on their toes, and don't bother to say I'm sorry. Today I blast punk rock on my balcony. Assume all my neighbors like the music I like. Today I don't pick up after myself. Leave my empty soda cans all over the place. And forget that I have ever loved or hated anything. Thank you. And the next poem I'm gonna read is called I Don't Want to Win a Haiku Contest. I don't want to win a haiku contest. The certificate bigger than the poem itself, to savor and honor longer than the moment that inspired its short lines. If I were to win a contest, I'd like my verses to feel reams of paper, to run a marathon, not just 3 little steps, like those women in old China with bound feet. I'd like the poem to be fat, not thin, fed on daily servings of words and phrases, to fill a cup over the brim, like an endless fountain, not the slow drip drops of a micro poem. Thank you.
Nicely done, Jackie.
Thank you.
Like those. Up next, he's here to get it out of his system so he can listen quietly to the feature. And let's give it up for Mr. Bill Lewis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just love the idea of fat poems. I am having images going through my head. Oh my goodness gracious. So I had class today. This is the first class that I've taught since the weekend. And I could not say anything. So I talked to the kids for a short time about the conferences that I've been in for peace, the times that I've been holding hands in circles with Palestinians and Jews, talking about how we are going to build a land without war, without hate, and all of those wonderful things. And there's nothing I can say or do or change. I have no, whatever I have been able to do is done now. And so obviously I was impressed and inspired to write, trying not to think about it. Tried really hard to avoid it, and then I couldn't. Gash the Jews. I don't believe it. It isn't true. God, please tell me that this is fake news. Waving Palestinian flags and cheering on the slaughter. Jews aren't human. We don't care. They're best used as fodder. Once we stood together with Palestinians and Jews, we all swore allegiance, we people of all hues. Those who once proclaimed their love now are seeking vengeance, a fury and a bloodlust that leaves behind its stenches. I don't understand how this can be. I don't understand hatred. How many people have to die before this lust is sated? I have no conclusions. Like I said, nothing any of us thinks or does makes any difference to what happens now. All we can say to our friends that we love them and we want the best for them. Oh, and now in respect of Jackie Chow, who seems to have some of the same thought-seeking patterns I do, the world doesn't need me today. I can sit and watch the grass grow. I can lay in the grass and watch the sun on the sky do nothing and warm my face. I can lay in the grass and just lay in the grass and not do anything. I don't even need to think about the world. The crickets, the bees, the flies, the dog bark, a lonely frog. The birds on the telephone wire, they're gossiping, telling tales. Do birds understand other birds? I mean, do sparrows and falcons ever talk? Wow. Folks here, these birds have a lot to say. Sparrows, blackbirds, wrens, turkeys, robins. What are they talking about? I don't have to know. I don't need to do anything. I don't even have to complete this.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Much appreciated. And let's go to our one phone participant tonight. It's great to have her still joining us after all this time. Let's welcome up Nancy Dotson once she unmutes herself by pressing *6. There you go.
A bugworm. Melting snow makes water. Damp bugworm climbs over letters. I blow the worm away. Bugworm slides on bed. Did I kill the bugworm today? Kill bugs nevermore. I hate this killing. My conscience wrecks hurtful hell. Upset, a live bug. Live.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much. It's always good to have you on. We're going to bring up next. He was a feature very recently here at Snow Soup, helping us fill the time in September. His new book is out. He'll tell you about it. Talk to him about getting a copy, or I think it's also available from Red or Green Books. Let's welcome up Mr. Rich Spizak.
Thank you so much, my friends. Always an honor to be here among this fine, fine assembly. I have two little pieces for you. My new book is called Stone Poetry. It was an inspiration. I've been doing a lot of stone art, so I thought that would be appropriate. I'll put the link in there. If you email me, I'll be glad to help you get a copy. So here we go. This first one in honor of the fact that we've been protesting for peace for so goddamn long. This is called I Do Not Like War. I do not like war at my door. I don't like it on the steps. I don't like it. It's not hep. I don't like war here or there. I don't like war anywhere. I don't like it on the street. I don't like it. It is not neat. I do not like war on those folks. I do not like it when it makes us broke. I don't like what it does to them. I don't like when buildings are strewn. I don't like when war kills kids. I don't like it. I never did. I don't like those loud explosions. I don't like patriotic confusion. I don't like it. It is dumb. I don't embrace when it is done. And yes, I know the polls will use it, and the victims sure do lose it. Makes more enemies than it kills, that some still seem to like it. Gives me chills. And then, having lamented the human condition, I want to share this alternative vision with you. This is called Over, Under, Around, and Through. Over, under, around, and through. The universe gonna take care of you. As above, so below. Count on your dilly and million miracles that ease your way, or just count on your toes, whatever you say. Hurtling, tumbling through the immensity of space implies, of course, the other place. The way the sunlight sparkles on the water, just exactly how you oughter. I've often heard among the folks they'd like a different species of joke. No, don't tell jokes so mean. The ambassador will go up and close his magazine. And those rows that we press between the pages of an ancient book, you get a very different kind of look. Like the rows plastered between the pages, what colorfully threaded harmonies we find ourselves engaged in. Live out in mercy, come what may. May you too sprinkle a little mercy on the bread of day. Over, under, around, and through. The universe is going to take care of you. And like capuchin monkeys in the zoo, the stage age of sages cages up, and we just broke on through. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you very much. And now I think it's time. We have some people. Blackbird's going to be joining us soon. She has to update her Zoom. Update your Zoom every week, people. Because the longer you wait, the longer a pain in the ass it is. Let's go now to, we missed her last week. It's good to have her back now. Let's welcome Jan Rowe.
Thank you. This is from the Black Seed Writers, October 10th. Every Tuesday morning at the St. Paul down Park Street, breakfast and this writing group. This actually is not my piece. This makes me think, because I'm turning 71 this week, and my godchild, one of them is turning 44. And he was very early into Habitat for Humanity and building ramps and stuff and going to Syria to rescue and earthquakes and stuff. Then he fell off a roof. So now he's works casino. So the person wrote this, Lane wrote this the week before. That's why it was in the weekly on yesterday, called New Friend. I came here from Florida 2 weeks ago. My girl overdrew my account, so I left Florida and came here with the last of my money. I've been here before for a week or two at a time. My boss is from here, so I used to travel with him for work. He's gone back to Armenia for a few months, so I need a job for a minute. I've been through this before. I've got faith in God, so I know I'll be all right. I work construction, demolition. I've been doing it a long time. It's tough work. I don't like it. It's horrible. It's manual labor. I'm 40 now. I'm tired. I'd like to start my own landscaping business. I can make it happen. I'm tired of working for somebody else. In Florida, you can do landscaping all year round. It's good money. You can charge by the tree. By the end of the day, you're in the thousands. That's Lane. This is me on the news. The hurricane cleanup workers, they're afraid to go to Florida, and they're needed desperately. They're afraid they'll be arrested or deported. And then I was with a student in a community college nursing school when I was getting out of teaching, because all I did was work for a dozen years. Her ex-spouse was actually killed. He was employed in a tree service. It's very dangerous work. So it's nice that we get these, these weeklies, and then he does a quarterly, James Parker of the Atlantic. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. I have a little horror thing, Chad. I just want to read it. I got from the Boston Athenaeum Private Library, interlibrary loan, midnight at Chernobyl. I carry this book and explain. I like thrillers. Thank you. It's sick. It's sick.
No, it's not.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dan. And now it looks like, in lieu of people needing more time to jump on, we'll close out this part of the open mic. If anyone joins us towards the end, we'll do that. But let's close out this fraction of it at the very least with James Van Looy, Oddball Magazine columnist. Check out his poem. His poem column, It's All One Thing, every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. without fail. And take it away, James.
Okay. So I got my poem here called First Day in England 2023. Flight night, off the plane in morning, and through automated customs, trying to figure out again which one train will take us to the central bus station where we can get the bus to Old Watford, where ancestors lived back in time of Henry VIII and leased land from him there that once belonged to St. Albans Abbey, now become huge cathedral. And finally finding the train, and then the station, then bus, and riding around the rim of Metro London, looking more like just sprawl that is so familiar, American sprawl. Mix of rural and suburban castles and high rises, business and residential all mixed up, this on that on this ride, streaming by the bus windows, stopping to get off and to get on, and passengers all quite certain where we are going. But I am still watching ever so closely, even as the jet lag has Jan nodding out. So I think we're there 3 times before we actually get there. And where we got off the last time, we walk up the street when the last stop will be Watford Junction, just past the Holiday Inn, where we have a studio room reserved, and have stayed twice before, looking out over from 8th floor, the whole valley draining off towards the Thames River. And of course, it would have been easier to stay on the bus one more stop, but I wasn't sure it was a bus stop. So there we were, looking out over the town on Thursday, now afternoon, still morning in the States. So after laying down a while, Jan asleep, I just have to go out to see what's still there, past Sainsbury groceries and right by various Italian pizza and Asian food operations, and straight over the bridge on way to Cassowary Park, former estate of some local lord, now public park, going right back, long rows of hundreds of years old trees, 1.5 miles across a bridge over the creek, come canal, with locks, and then on into the woods that come out finally way back in there, in a winding golf course I found the last time. But this time far from empty, Cassowary Park is overflowing with people, just like the strip was downtown, that now fully pedestrian mall that's been made out of the old still standing structures, to which they've added a 5 or 6 story retail indoor center across the street from where St. Mary's, where ancestors were buried, still lurks behind Nemo's Coffee and Pizza Joint. But way back out in Cassowary Park, there's even more people than there was downtown, and in between it's a giant beachlet of sand for the kids to play in. But even more kids are playing in the wading and swimming pools about halfway down to the canal, where there's even more kids who are wading in the spill water from the old dam, and people are walking everywhere over the old stone bridge and way back into the old woods, and who knows, their numbers were driving them all the way onto the golf course too. And even I can't believe it. One of the canal boats with a woman at the helm is in the lock with water flowing out as she is slowly lowered down, right on down to a new level. And the gates are opened for her by pure human physical force, and the boat edges out into the flow of the Kermit downstream. So I remember Mom, whose ancestors once lived here. And our favorite, most loved activity was watching boats go through locks, meditation on water and gravity, oh, so far from home. And here's a Dutch song for you. Real quick, it's only a couple of stanzas. Great is her, further than ooit, so dik by house, rusten the weapons night. Wat hath the angst met us gedaan? Let alles wat had hem in vrede bestaan. Maak speelt with Maak, and dood hold a spel. Bang voor elkaar, dragen ze met de hel. There nu of nooit samen te gaan. Laat alles wat had hem in vrede bestaan. Alles wat had hem in vrede bestaan. And of course, that means let everyone who breathes live in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, James. And if that wasn't enough to make you want to read his stuff over at Oddball Magazine, James has been writing a lot of poems lately, exploring his Dutch heritage and his family, and the art of his ancestors. So, and there'll be a poem tomorrow that goes right into that as well. So don't miss out, and check out oddballmagazine.com in general and submit your work, whether it's for the Horrorthon or for any other piece you think we might like. But seriously, do the Horrorthon. Okay. We are on our way now to the feature. I'm hoping a couple people join us. We are going to read the boilerplate and introduce tonight's feature, Navah the Buddaphliii. It's my fervent prayer that I stop doing every time I say something, because I can't. If I had to do a drinking game on all the I did in last recording, I would be dead. I would be comatose and to this day. Let us go now to tonight's feature, and thanks to everyone for coming. Be back next week for Localuccio, and stay tuned for more Stone Soup news, for future online shows and future live shows. Tonight's online feature is Navah the Buddaphliii. Navah the Buddaphliii is a phenomenal spoken word artist, published author, and coach of the Lizard Lounge Slam team. She's a living legend, a slayer of stanzas, master of metaphors, and duchess of double entendres. Her stage presence has captivated audiences from state to state. She has been a part of the poetry community for over 25 years and counting. Her latest poetry collection is Black Cocaine and Colorless Butterflies. Always says it looks like butter lilies. My font's weird on this computer. Anyway, Those of you who have been coming to Stone Soup over the years know Navah through her work through the Society of Urban Poets, through the Souped Up Poetry Slam, and through her own work. And you've probably seen me promote her various events at the Strand. And I hope there's one coming again soon. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together 30, 40 times for Navah the Buddaphliii, virtual or otherwise.
Okay, can you hear
There
me?
you go. Yes.
All right. Thank you. So, I've been watching a lot of horror films lately. One of them really scared me. Oh my. I couldn't sleep for days. So, I was inspired to write a poem, a horror poem. So it's my first one. I just wrote this, so it's new. It's called A Ghostwriter's Ode to the Haunted Theater. Some say a ghost tale starts with a shot of whiskey and ends with a ceremonial cry of silent bells trying to speak. Now, what do you do with a quiet moment like this? You acknowledge. Death is a beacon, and life is the stage it lives on. So look alive, play the role, and make no promises. Because when you are an actor, it is hard to know the difference from a well-rehearsed line and an oath. It is hard to get others to see that people are possessed by ideas and not ghosts. Get them to see. Only a vengeful spirit knows how to even the score. And what would the theater be without music? Without the lifeless shell of a heart playing, or the callous eyes staring at you to rattle the unsettling bones in your chest, harmonizing in the key of trauma. Now, in order to be a proper active ghost, you must dust off the dirt, draw back the curtains, dim the lights, and remember, you are too beautiful to haunt your own reflection, too high-spirited to be a still photo. So let the theater convince the thunder in your body it is not dead, or time to take a bow yet. Ignore this feeling that is dying to get out. It just means you want to dream again. So pretend to fall asleep and get lost in the sleep patterns that keep others awake at night. Roll around in the 3D hallucination sheets. Let the goosebumps slow dance all over your skin. Let this nightmare crawl throughout your veins. Let this dream be too much for you to handle. And remember to keep your religion at bay. Don't go back to tasting sin that once lingered in your mouth, or back to something you've got to pray your way out of. I know the script all too well. I too have kissed no one goodnight and counted the steps it took to get to my own hell. Now get ready for your big scene. Look to the left. Notice your own shadow creeping up behind you, ricocheting off of an eerie feeling, masquerading as a masterpiece of footsteps and footnotes approaching. Now notice the panic button left of the curtains. Push it and release the unholy sounds of crickets. Take a long look at the audience and bow out gracefully. I swear, farewell has never been strong enough of a word. It is impossible to say goodbye to a spirit or let them know when their time is up. Thank you. So what I wanted to do, Chad, if it wasn't a problem, just like quick questions about, like in each piece, like 2 questions after each piece, just to get me to center again. So if you could open the floor for 2 questions.
Anyone's welcome to unmute themselves and do so. I had mentioned requesting a Prince poem earlier, so I guess I'll ask the first question to break the ice. What is your connection to Prince? Both on a
My con-
spiritual level and when you were photographed with him when he was alive.
Mm. So my connection to Prince is, I had a lot of abandonment issues growing up. So Prince was like something I ran to. His music is it's earth-changing, it's life-changing. It's just this amazing thing, and it gets you, it's like a safe space for some people to listen to Prince's music. Because the music today, it's more like a beat, a melody, and some lyrics, but Prince had something else in his music, you know? So that was the strong connection. It's just falling in love with his music. He's a beautiful person. And I did meet him like 3 times in my life.
I understand you've been writing for a long time and performing. I always like to ask poets, when they're asked by a young person, should they spend time in poetry? Is poetry worthwhile? Does poetry accomplish anything? What do you typically answer the young poet?
I say poetry for me, I can only give them my personal experience, but poetry for me, it saved my life. You know, like my book, Black Cocaine and Colorless Butterflies, it's referencing to growing up in the 80s, where we had this crack epidemic that just took over the community. And so many of my friends have passed away from crack and gun violence. And writing was one of the biggest tools I used to stay sane and to stay safe.
Thank you.
So I will go into the next piece, and as Chad requested, I will go into a Prince piece. Did you know Prince can play over 27 instruments? And one time in an interview, he said, "Dead silence is music too." A poem for Prince. I believe it was the sawdust of summer when I found your voice in the shadow of a song. You sang so beautifully of lilacs and photogenic water. You built harmonies powerful enough to save angels and their demons in a storm. Quickly, I caught on. Held tightly to your Buddaphlii's cleverly named lyrics. You spoke of love like you had a doctrine. I thought for men, love was a learning curve. But there you were, in all your ruffles and lace, proving me wrong. You didn't just create music and magic by the sweat of your brow. No, you birthed an ocean of colors out of sound and called them stories. And your highness, I got caught up in your reign. So when you perished, I was faced with a hurdle my heart couldn't jump. I felt like I was treading water. I didn't know how to outswim these many tears, and at one point, I swear to you, I was seeing paisley hallucinations. You've always painted pictures that seem more real to me than life itself. In my mind, you were a limitless rainbow. You were something familiar, something from both worlds. You are the definition of fluidity. You blur lines between gender, genre, reality, and fantasy. So Prince, I love you more than you can possibly imagine. And I bet you can play almost anything, even strumming the lines of fossilized flowers. So tell me, when did you get tired of playing love songs? When did balancing the moon and a microphone become all too much for you? And where was your accountability partner the day it happened? Who choked the life out of your vocal cords? I would give almost anything to hear you live again. Oh, wait, I think I get it. Going back to your interview, once you said, dead silence is music too. Thank you. So I don't know if anybody caught that, but I got lost. I got lost in my piece. So I started improvising until I came back. I'm always curious if people can tell. Could any of you tell? You can be honest.
I don't think I could have told that. I think I noticed a pause at one point, but
Okay,
I thought that was dramatic.
that's the giveaway. That right there is the giveaway. That is too funny. So this is my favorite time of the year. It's fall, autumn. So I do have a couple of fall poems I would like to read. And the first one is called A Parade for Autumn. It is September and the harvest air, misty and magnificent. It deserves a celebration, a poem, or a parade. And I am an emotional poet in need of no band. I march to the beat of my own heart. I march alongside the autumn equinox, and I am flushed from its rays and inspired to throw words around like confetti with all of your thoughts in mind. My poems are jaded, and the loudest voice a revolution has ever heard. They're entwined with ink, time, divine impulses to show you that I am more mystical than a black mermaid washed up on a moonlit shore, more reflective than a river laid to rest in frostbites. Mirroring is one of my many hidden talents. I love seeing myself in your drum roll faces like a soaking wet replica, fading into my own parade, accompanied by nothing more than a colorful dream of eye-catching metaphors, making others think of me as a sonneteer. But I assure you, I am a wild writer who take chances with words and create mirages that send chills down your spine to restore your backbone. A poet never truly sees the person, just held breath of poetic fibers that help us welcome in a bewildered autumn day, giving October its brilliant hue in a parade of pharaoh falling leaves, surrounded by wounded sunflowers. And in that moment, we all trust the change in the gifted season, as we trust the gentle breeze as it coasts across our face. And we smile as we play our part, giving autumn its flowers. Thank you. Okay, so I have another fall poem. This one is called The Fall of Leaves. Autumn is a different type of gem. It is the diamond of the seasons, shining through a hieroglyphic harvest while humming harmonious hymns. It rocks to a different groove than the warmest weather. Fortunately, fall knows its fate. It can change the structure of time with one blow of a kiss, and the extravagant wind is orchestrated poetry, slowly carrying each colorful leaf, gently falling from grace like angels to become one with the unstoppable ground. Now, when autumn is not prophesizing, it is in a state of healing from holding the weight of the world and the sins of its God. It ushers out summer villains and welcome in winter warriors. It knows how valuable it is and will show you how helpful gathering hands can be and how to honor the indigenous happiness it brings under October skies and starry nights, like they were painted by Van Gogh or Picasso. Autumn is the beautiful departure placed on a Libra scale And nature balances out the earth's ego by making everyone's favorite child that brings nothing but sunshine take a back seat for a while. This is to remind us it is essential that seasonal shadow work be done. Thanks. So I want some more questions and I'll read another poem. I need some questions.
You're one of the few people who are still very active in the scene and have been around the scene for as long. I mean, I've been in the scene since about, I'd have to say, I started basically like in 2000, but didn't get really ensconced until about 2003, 2004. What's the commonality of traits that you see in Boston poetry that are different from other locations? You've read in different states and such, and I don't know if there's a quality or even a defect that Boston poetry has that you've noticed.
To be honest with you, I feel like it's kind of the same. When I was in Atlanta, it's similar, though, like the scene that I was at, those poets specialize in a special type of writing. So that you have those little differences, but they have the same pros and cons that we have as well here. And it's about when building these type of communities, if people are not on the same page or share the same collective consciousness, I guess, it's really hard when everyone is so different or they stand for different things. It's just hard. It's hard to just not focus on the poetry because we're focusing on what everybody else is or what they're doing or, and just not the poetry.
Anybody else have another question? Come on, someone's got to be inquisitive. Jan, Blackbird, come on, help me out over here.
Well, I'll ask the gentleman, absent anybody else. I have a theory that poets hold a special place in society, that we are the bards, we are the editorialists, if you will, in a literary sense. Do you feel that a poet has responsibility to the society at large?
Of course I do. And I think that's the key that's missing. It's like a lot of poets are focused more on it's my art and protecting my art and doing what I want with my art and my freedom of speech. That's what I hear a lot from poets, but they lose the idea that they hold some responsibility on how they shape this art form.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And when I say freedom of speech, because I don't want people to feel like, well, what does she mean? But it's such a broad term, freedom of speech. And I feel like it leaves room for bad things to creep in. And, it's a world of duality. Bad things are going to creep in, good things are going to creep in. So I personally don't like to say, it's my art. I'm a writer. I'm a wild writer. That's how I look at it. And I want feedback. I want someone to correct me if I'm stepping over a line I shouldn't step over as a poet, as a writer. Because I want to be held, I want to take accountability. And speaking of that, I'm going to go into another poem. This poem, it's not about religion, but it's about the duality of God, of the devil, so if everyone can just have an open mind with this piece, I'm not promoting any religion or anything like that. And if you do have a problem with this piece, definitely bring it to my attention. Because like I said, make me aware, hold me accountable for what I say. So the piece is called Writer's Block, performed by Fallen Angels. God's pronouns are him, her, she, he, they, and them. This is called Writer's Block, written and performed by Fallen Angels. If God is the book, then we must be the pages and lessons that fill them. Each page takes 24 hours to read, and each day a new page is turned. Beings of words, I invite you to run with me to the weakest part of the earth, because after all, challenges are as hard as life. Let us teach our souls to run in packs of sonnets and free ideas, and watch our fisticuff words take on a life of their own. May God continue to hide while we seek them out, and never stop following in their day-to-day shadow, because we believe they're too important for us to lose. Isn't that right, Lucifer? Yes. She is our glorious matriarch. We hear her voice in the calmness of the earth. It speaks as loud as our hearts can stand. It sounds a lot like the space between dandelion breath and the heaven long forgotten. If only I left my pride resting in peace, there would still be a halo reposed over my head instead of a dark cloud. Fallen angels, our words are the only weapons formed against us if we're not careful. But with our words, we can escape this holographic room called Earth, because after all, heroes can dream too. And our dreams can turn to dust. So quickly, let us eat our own words and live our lives breathing in infinite possibilities in a space where breath is no longer a privilege. Jesus, I've got a life with no religion, and still I manage to turn doubt into rhinestones right along with the pages of myself. I will turn page after page as if I were Jesus, turning the other cheek. And like Jesus, I will take my dislikes and burdens, and I will turn them into a warm, welcoming sunset. I will teach my pain to laugh. Ignorance isn't bliss, no, it is kind. So fallen angels, look deep inside yourself and see the word of God, for I've seen it. I am half human, half star, and my DNA is all angelic. And God wrote his first poem in blood right here on earth, and he called it Adam. And I, Lucifer, am not his adversary. God created the heavens and the earth. But it is man who creates his own hell. Thank you. So I have one more piece, and I don't know, Chad, if you want to go into the next half of the open mic, but I have one more piece. Okay. I mean, if people have more questions.
I know Blackbird unmuted her thing for a moment. I don't know if I can drag her out of the shadows to ask her a question if she had one.
You don't have a question, Blackbird?
Oh well.
Now,
Well, all right, I'll ask
you
one.
have to inquire, if you are so convinced that man creates his own hell, does he also create his own heaven?
Yes. Yes, I'm convinced. So this next piece is kind of like a horror piece. I do want to give a trigger warning, a content warning. It's about fetishes. I don't know what words I can say, Chad.
Trust me, I learned a long time ago, I do not mark my YouTube videos as safe for kids.
I mean, it's nothing, I don't think it's too much, but it's about blood fetishes. And I also crossed it in with like the theme of Halloween and, you know, the scary stuff. And it's called Razors. Okay. Razors. Did you know they show a kind act of love? Picture me at 18, not taking life or myself serious enough. Or not as serious as some could take razors in love. See, I discovered one day, just horsing around on a carousel ride of trauma, covered in blood. We can all chase dreams, but few of us catch them. I discovered I need to be careful where I was dreaming to. Careful like I was in love. Careful like I was using razors to chisel through the ground until I reached the earth's blood and bones. I also discovered rubbing razors in love the wrong way can feel as if you had a brush with death. See, God got it wrong. Love should be barricaded by stone walls instead of hearts and songs. Love is messy and poetic. And it carries a ratchet razor that I often use. Understand, cuts are messengers too, and they tattletale, and dry snitch. Every chance they get about my anger, my fear, my secret stash of razors to a world they couldn't possibly understand. They never got the memo. That my pain is shy. Doesn't want anyone to know that I can't love normal. Just insane and misunderstood, so I stay quiet, barely heard. I got a voice as loud as silence. And in the bedroom, I make as much noise as a butterfly. Ironic, they call me Navah the butterfly, because when I speak, it's poetic. And there are no safe words, just someone else's slit wrists pouring out of me. Oh, negative, premeditated blood drops that leave a trail of clues to what is really wrong with me. And I confess, I am sick and creative. I am something you can't just go simply sleep off. So sweet dreams. It's going to take more than razor sharp words and music that sings to what's between my legs to fix me. It's going to take God running from every direction at once just to come and hold me. And I will tell them, I want to do like lovebirds do on the first day of spring, but I can't in a world that looks like shattered mirrors, a world that is someone else's heaven and someone else's hell. So sometimes I play the hero and the villain too, as I try to pick up the pieces of myself, 5 at a time, to put me back together again, and I can't. So I hurt with razors for now, but one day I will hurt with kindness, and I will be amazing. And not lead love down a dark alleyway full of vampire silhouettes where blood don't wash away so easily. Where Halloween is celebrated like Christmas. No, so I'm just joking. You know what it is? I want to be that poet to make your heart race. I want to take a razor, do a couple of dope lines, like I was Scarface. Razors. And my band.
No, as a matter of fact, I remember this poem that you read this poem another time a few years back. So is this in the book?
What is this band? Am I banned?
You're not banned.
Okay.
It's hard to get banned from Stone Soup, you know. Like, you've seen the performers we have. There's an old Dennis Miller joke about Izzy Stradlin kicked out of Guns N' Roses, where he goes, "What the fuck did you have to do to get kicked out of Guns N' Roses?" hey, Slash, quit shooting heroin up your scrotum. We got to vote on Izzy. Turn on your needles, man. You're not GNR material anymore. Yeah. Oh God. No, but in all seriousness, I think that was a wonderful performance. I'm sure everyone's giving you a big round of applause virtually. On the inside, we're all exhausted from the old days, from the days with the days of Zoom. Fantastic performance. Are any of those poems in that book of yours?
Yeah, the poem Razors is in the book. Prince, the Prince poem is in the book. Oh, and the Fallen Angels, the writer's block, it's in the
Very
book.
good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you should definitely put some links in the bio, put some information in the chat, which I'll share tomorrow of how to acquire your book.
Okay. I mean, it's everywhere on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, online.
Okay,
So-
so put links to that, and if you want to put in your Venmo, if anyone wants to donate a few bucks to the cause of Navah, we'll definitely do that.
I don't have Venmo, but I do have Cash App.
Yeah, we got, okay, sounds good.
I think my Cash App, I'm gonna call you back.
You can text you can text that when you're ready. And
Okay, let me
yeah,
see.
definitely grab her book if you can. I grabbed it about a year or so back during the slam at the Strand, and I have a long list of stuff I need to read once the winter comes and I can sit the fuck down for more than 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm trying to just, I don't even, okay. So I do see the Cash App. So I'll just put the Cash App
In the chat. Sounds good.
Okay.
The book is Black Cocaine and Colorless Butterflies. And
Yes.
that was Navah the Buddaphliii. And it's weird sometimes to do an open mic after the feature is done, but we do have some stragglers and I want to hear you all read. And Blackbird was looking forward to this feature so much. And I think it's perfect for her to continue with the, I think there's only 3 people there might be 3 people on the open mic. And Blackbird, if you'd like to read, you're more than welcome to do so. You're good?
Why are you not reading? Come on.
That seems oddly suspicious, Blackbird.
I just wanted to hear Navah, and I don't mind listening to other people.
Okay. Okay, I will.
You guys want to hear it, but I don't think it's.
We like hearing you, but if you don't want to read, we don't want to pull your arm behind you and like force you to. So, but we just wanted to give you the opportunity. I think that's what we did to have fill in 2 hours of our fucking public access show. I think Bill Perot had to keep reading. No, anyway, let's go to Patricia Kerrigan if she'd like to read.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to read something for Halloween, inspired by the Platters, Twilight Time. Twilight casts spells, scatters pink, orange, red, gold onto short-waved blue sky. With colors in turmoil, it must hurry, announce day's end. Quiet, gradual, not to disturb sun's departure. Blue to deepen night's shadow, and a curtain scattered in stars, crowned by moon. I cast spells, scatter manifestations draped in pink, orange, red, gold, onto short-waved blue incense. With colors in turmoil, I must hurry, announce intentions at day's end, quiet, gradual, not to disturb sun's departure. Blue to deepen your shadow, and a bed scattered in stars, crowned by moon. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. I imagine you must be busy as fuck given the events of the last 4 or 5 days.
Oh, God, I can't even go in there. I can't. It's getting nightmares. Nightmares now.
All right, feel better. That's all I got to
Yeah,
say.
thank you. It was just, I had to be careful with my mouth because, I'll get shot.
Okay. Well, like as I said, I hope you feel better. And Blackbird says, because I love you all so much, I will read. So, all right, here we go. So time to unmute yourself.
Don't you have like other 2 people?
I had you
I
first.
thought you had other
so
2 people to read.
I think, well, Patricia's one of the 2. Okay, I'll go to All right, so we'll go back to you, and I will, Rich Boucher, if you're interested in reading, you can definitely do so.
Hey, Chad, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Good to see you
Thank
outside the
very much.
Garage Poets. I'm glad you made your way over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. And it was great to hear our featured poet. Navah, you did a wonderful job, and I thought you were you definitely showed a lot of preparation on that, so I appreciate that. This is called Stay Alert, Watch What You Are Doing, and Use Common Sense when operating a power tool. One of my favorite tools to use is my Makita cordless power drill. It's got a lithium-ion battery, and it can deliver close to 500 inch-pounds of torque. And this little baby can go through anything: sheetrock, mahogany wood, 1-inch concrete, and plate steel. It practically does all your work for you. This thing weighs less than 4 pounds, even with the battery attached. And it's got a top drill bit turn speed of 1600 RPM. And I got it for under $100. Can you believe that? Theodore Willigan, age 64. The customer who had mocked me for my job. The customer who whistled for me as if I were a dog or a small child. The customer who put his hand in front of my face as though to dismiss me and my worth, now stared at me from the table I'd strapped him to in my basement. The smell of his old American pheromones and his old spice and his perspiration and the paints I'd kept around blended into a heady perfume that a smart marketing exec would have called no romance. Willigan's stupid Vietnam veteran cap shook as he roared at me in a tone of equal parts fear and defiance. You really think you'll get away with this? They'll give you the goddamn death penalty if you kill me. And why? You're doing all this because you're mad about how I talk to you? You need to get the hell over it. It's part of your job. If you don't like it, get another job. It was almost like he didn't even care about how cool my new drill was. My back was to him just then. I was lost in the beauty of that little green LED light on the handle of the drill that tells you when it's got a full charge. Seeing that full charge light gave me a full charge. Have you ever felt that steamy flush in the skin when you defend yourself and you know you're right? It's like that itch in your back where your angel wings are starting to grow. It's like a night meadow full of those little green LED lights sprouting from the ground and lighting up the world. The little green LED lights telling you that you now have full power. A sparrow flew over the house just then also and sang us both a song about a glorious dame in a film noir movie, and I made a note to Netflix that epiphany later, to Netflix that hotness, to Netflix my last will and testament. And as all of this pretty sanity continued on, the loose light bulb over the table I had him on swung to and fro in a silly little curve over his worthless face. It occurred to me that he looked a bit like the actor who played Baron Harkonnen in the 1984 film Dune. His resemblance to that actor made me hate him even more powerfuler. And his resemblance to that actor also made me God for a little while, which, honestly, I did not mind. I turned to face him. We locked eyes then. We locked hearts too. We almost locked cocks as well, except that he would never have been able to deserve my sex. The next thing I said to him came out so calmly, so suavely measured, that you would have sworn I was an unbelievably handsome actor like John Hamm or something. This isn't just about how you talk to me. Although believe me when I tell you that in the next several minutes, you're going to learn all about what the word sorry really means. It's also about how you talk to everyone who wears a name tag, everyone who works in retail, every wait person, everyone who works in customer service. What I am about to do to you is not just for me, but for all of them. We're not laying down anymore for the way you customers treat us. Still want to mock how much I make an hour? Oh, and is there something, anything at all you would like your family to know before we begin? He sputtered out a mouthful of inadequate apology words, fast and furious, with his gross spit flecking down on his chin like I'd just given him a facial or something the moment he saw me pull the trigger on the drill, the second he heard its perfect, beautiful, rotational, industrial whine. You know what's odd? Blood looks different when it splashes on your shirt, your hand, than when it spatters on a wall. That was kind of a surprise to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. We got to get you to feature sometime. Also, let me know
Thank
when
you.
you're in the Boston area. Hopefully, I'll keep you abreast of any live shows coming up. Ooh.
Thank you.
Up next, I think Richard Spizak in the comments said he did have his own blood poem that he'd like to tell. I don't know if he's willing to come up a second time. We weren't doing normal sound round robins, but if he's interested, I'll let him do it.
Well, thank you. I think in honor of our special featured artist discussion of blood, I'd written a piece recently because one of the poets that many of you may know, a woman named Miss Ray, is really an extraordinary poet, and she talked about an experience she had when after having given blood to a blood bank several times, they began to bother, they began to pester her. So I wrote this to in honor of her story. It's called Bloodlust. A lady whose generosity knows no end regularly dropped by the local blood supply to leave her quota. She was no DeSoto. Like a Ferrari, regularly she'd stop. We really know why she went every July, and every 3 months or so she dropped by with a quart. She cares, it's no stunt, you can read the report. It came to her attention a few weeks back that her voicemail, it seemed, was under attack. She noticed something the other day. Every day she came home, her answering machine would say, "When will you return and give us more blood? We'd take all we can get. Glug, glug, glug." It was there just a week ago, she said to the phone. It really didn't matter. There was no one at home. Every day she noticed they called to bug her. It was almost like they found something to sell her. But over and over they called to the phone, oblivious it seems that she wasn't a clone. She'd given her quota, that's all there was to it, but she'd like to give more, she just couldn't do it. She'd given her limit, and that was all there was to it. But they called and they called, her phone just kept ringing. What was the message they repeatedly were singing? All the incessant jingling, what were they thinking? "We want your blood," they just kept saying. Over and over, like a donkey, they were braying, "We want your blood." They would have no excuse. They tried this and that and a dozen quaint ruses. "Just come in. We'll only take a little off the top." How could she be sure they'd really stop? "We want your blood, your very special flavor. In fact, oh shucks, just move in. We'd like you as a neighbor." Some kind of vampire, they'd have no delay. "More blood by the quart, by the bucket," they'd say. So finally she was determined to end the assault. She went to their storefront and opened the vault, and there amidst the spider webs and coffins she found something disturbing, something profound. 10 gallons of her she saw on the shelf, nothing but hers, that have no one else. She was their favorite. They sure liked her style. Could you just spare a few more drops, hon? Just once in a while.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Rick.
Genevieve Ray, by the way, Genevieve Ray, a fine poet.
Nicely done.
Thank you for your indulgence.
Oh, thank you. And before we get to Blackbird, Dan Spears came on a little late, but I'm glad he's here. If you want to read, you're more than welcome to, sir.
I would love to read. May I?
Go ahead.
All right. This is a poem that I have been writing for, I can't tell you how long. I started it when I was in 5th grade, and the very first version was published in a mimeograph newsletter back in the 50s. And then it was published again when I was in junior high school in a different version. Then when I was in college, in the college newspaper. But here's the current version of a poem that I've been writing for 75 years. It's called A Taste of Dirt. I tasted dirt once when I was a child. A curious child who tasted things like rain and pine and grass and cold wind on a winter night. I chopped a bit of batter from a spoon and scraped the fudge pot clean. And once when I quite forgot myself, I almost tasted greens. I stole some apples from a neighbor's tree. Sour and green like persimmons, convinced things taste better when gained illicitly. I churned a bit of batter in my turn and ate the shelly beans with corn and tomatoes, splitting skin, gorged by summer rains. I tasted a girl in a useful theft, a swarthy lad I was who took a kiss away to keep me warm on warrior nights when I was far away from home. Over the years, I've gained a bit of standing from my taste. The older I became for wines and exotics and places, people of fame, I tasted me and a cut on my lips, a curious taste of rusty fudge and salt, crusting in palpable bits, as if I could judge why I'm grinding flecks of time between my teeth, shocked at how long the dearth since I've tasted pine and rain and grass and greens, since I tasted dirt. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I think this is your first time here, but know that we meet every Wednesday. You can join the Stone Soup Poetry Facebook page and get informed on all the future readings. I hope you're here next week.
Thank you very much. This is such an exciting thing. I just want to mention that here in the Merrimack Valley, I am the Poet Laureate of Haverhill, Massachusetts, and this
Very
is
good.
the birthplace of American poetry. And we have such wonderful open mics here. And I've just discovered you people. And we have open mics here in New England. And it's just absolutely wonderful to find that there are other poets who enjoy what we enjoy doing, writing and reading poetry and keeping the concept of poetry alive in America. And that's what we love.
Thank you, Dan. I'm glad the small towns are keeping the poetry alive, even if the cities are having issues keeping live venues going. Touche. But if I start heading up a reading series in Bellingham, Massachusetts, the last laugh will be on me. But now, to close us out, let's bring us to the Blackbird. No more delays. Oh, and catch her play in November, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. She's a part of this play. In her words, it's about an autistic girl who is accused of killing her neighbor's dog, and so she goes around town to investigate who really did it. She plays, but she has a part in the play, and I'll be in one of the rows to see it. Probably not front row because my girlfriend doesn't have a great neck. And I get kinks too, but we'll do our best. I get crinks too in the neck, so we'll be there. But take it away, Blackbird.
Oh God. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for the shout out. Thank you so much, Navah. I've been looking forward to this because I know I haven't seen you. I haven't seen everybody in a long time. I am somewhere in the shadows, like you say, right? So, but I promise you that I will come out stronger and focused and determined, even more determined. So, but I am here, I'm still writing, and I'm keeping myself busy in things that I love to do, which is the arts. So there is a poem that I actually wrote this for another show that I am doing, but I figured since it's Halloween very soon, it's a good time to share it. So, Halloween. Living in darkness, sadness, overtaking my consciousness, dragging me down to the pits of hell. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Depression comes out, filling my soul with misery, clinging to me like demons, grabbing me in a chokehold. I disappear like a ghost in the night. You can't see me, but I'm sitting right next to you. Or is it just in your imagination? Happy Halloween. I'm dead. I'm just playing. No, for real. Well, yeah, that's it. I got so lost. You see how we be like getting lost, Nava, and our poems, poetry and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know, right?
yes.
Thank you guys very much for closing out the open mic, and another round of applause, audible or otherwise virtual, for Nava for a fantastic feature. Her Cash App info will be on the page. You can look up my you can look up me at Chad Parento or Chad Parento Poet for Hire, or look at my blog, or better yet, best yet, join the Stone Soup Poetry Facebook group and get the information on upcoming features as well as other publishing opportunities. I don't mind people sharing poems on the Facebook group itself, but what I really love is when people get published. So I do try to post opportunities for people to get published outside of the Facebook world. And I also edit Oddball Magazine, and we're doing a horror-thon this year. We've done a horror-thon in one form or another ever since I took over about, God, it's gonna be 10 years ago. Good Christ, I'm old. But I know, fucking kill me. But but Oddball Magazine is accepting submissions for the horror-thon. And I'll reiterate what I said earlier in the beginning of the night, that we are looking for more modern life horror takes. Zombies are passe. January 6th demonstrators are the new chic for horror, or they can be. I'm thinking more of Get Out than The Thing, but we will consider some things. But thinking about that, so send it to us. You have until October 22nd to submit something, and definitely looking for new voices, some people who haven't submitted before. We already have some nice art and prose from a couple people who actually come here to Stone Soup, and I'm hoping we can get some more people and some new voices. So stay tuned for more news, and every Thursday I make it a point to post calls for submissions from other journals. So we'll do our best to keep that going. There's more than ever now, and I think more journals are trying to get out there and contact each other and form genuine communities, especially since things like Twitter or X, or whatever you want to call it, is kind of going the way of 4chan, and it's going to be very tough for artists to communicate between algorithms and everything else. So I'll be putting some more information up tomorrow. I'll be putting up some choice meat selections from the chat. Thanks for making this a lively chat. God, now I've got to do my job now. But we are going.
Chad, tell everybody to save the chat so they've got all the contact information.
That too. That's always a good thing. And we'll see each other. Now we do the obligatory, it's obligatory because I say so, the wave. So this is, and then we stop because otherwise we have a bunch of blurry hands and it looks weird. And hold it up. Only it's optional, but it can be like this every week, guys. All we need is you. And thank you guys very much for showing up. Next week, we have Lo Galuccio. She has a new book out from Savannah Barbara Press. She is featured for Stone Soup numerous times, most recently as part of a Stone Coast Review party for that was held at the Dudley Street Cafe. And this is her first feature related to Stone Soup in 5 years. We're glad that she's back, and hopefully we'll be making more announcements for the end of October in the next couple of days. So thank you guys very much. Have yourself a great evening. See you soon.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Navah.
Take care.
The show's over. See you next time.
Joined in with the blood. Thank you.